Okay, so per a subscriber request, today this is just a short video to demonstrate how to use a modem to dial into a public access Unix system or a BBS or basically any type of remote terminal system that has a modem bank connected to it, or at least a modem connected to it. And so you can see that obviously I have internet access right now. You can see from this network connection, and here I've got a couple things. So this right here is a shortcut to connect to the public access Unix system directly via SSH, which obviously uses an internet connection. So if I go ahead and open that, it's going to set up the connection, and here we are at the main screen of this public access Unix system. And from here I can connect to a BBS or do any number of other things. So that's using my internet connection. What if I don't want to use my internet connection, right? Or say I can't use my internet connection. Say there is no internet access, but I do have a phone line. Well, I can still connect to the public access Unix system because it has a modem bank connected to it. In this case, currently there's 23 modems in a modem bank connected to it, so multiple people can dial in at the same time. So to demonstrate that, first of all, just so you don't think there's any trickery going on here, let me just unplug the network connection from the switch. Okay, it's disconnected. And if I come over here, you'll see it's already got the warning icon. And somehow it disappeared, and it thinks there's internet access. It's not really accurate, because if I try to open up the PAUS again, it's not going to open. And in a second, it's going to time out and say something to the effect of host cannot be found, because we don't have an internet connection. As far as it's concerned, this host does not exist. So we don't have an internet connection, but we can still connect to the system. We just have to use a modem instead of going through the internet. Now in this case, I've got voice over IP set up down there, so technically it is using the internet. The point is, the computer doesn't have internet connection. The computer is just using a phone line, and if you have a landline, then you can completely avoid using the internet. So in this case, I don't have one right here in particular, but it can still be done over voice over IP. You're just going to need to set the baud speed or the modem speed to a slightly slower speed, and it'll work okay. So there's 3 programs that I'm going to go through, at least in this video. You can use any number of terminal clients, and the first 2 are only available for Windows, and then the last one is cross-platform. It's on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So the first one is good old HyperTerminal. It was included in Windows through Windows XP. It's easily ported to modern versions of Windows, like Windows 7. So you just have to copy the exe, the DLL, and a few other files. And icons might not show up, but it doesn't really prevent you from doing anything. And in this case, it's installed in the regular program files directory. So if I go ahead and open up HyperTerminal, usually I just put in a dummy name here, like test, because I don't save these connections. And it's going to prompt you for the phone number. Now, you can connect either using your modem directly or the COM port that it's on. And if you choose the COM port, these options go away because you'll be connected directly to the serial port, and so you'll have to do ATDT or something and then a number and dial out that way. But HyperTerminal lets you connect directly to a modem, and it kind of hides some of those details from you, but you could directly connect to the serial port if you wanted to do it that way. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. And a short extension on my system that goes right to the modem bank is 4. If I dial 4, it'll automatically connect to the modem bank, even though the modem bank is not local. It's actually a long distance call from here. But I just have that set up for convenience, so I don't have to wait for it to outpulse a whole bunch of numbers before it can even make the connection. So that's just for convenience. Obviously, you'll want to put your local access number here, which you can find on the website, bbs.interlinked.us. We've got a bunch of local access numbers there. So I'm going to hit OK. The other thing I'm going to want to do, 2 things. If you go to Modify, now first, up at the top, if you go to Settings, you'll see the backspace key sign. So I'm going to change that to delete. By default, it's Control-H, which isn't going to do what you want in this case. So I'm going to change that to delete, so that way the backspace key works as expected. Otherwise, you just see Control-H. The other thing is I'm going to go to Configure, and I've already set the baud speed, or the port speed, to 2400 here. If you have a POTS landline, you can probably set it to anything you want, honestly. It'll work just fine because you've got perfect audio quality. If you're on VoIP, very unlikely the higher port speeds are going to work. I like 2400, and the reason is anything higher than 2400 is just a recipe for getting a no carrier fairly quickly, to be honest. And anything less than, well, 1200 works okay. If you do 300 baud, though, then you have a different problem where the synchronization gets off after a while, and you just get a bunch of garbled text. So 2400, at least from what I've found, that tends to work the best if you're on a VoIP connection. So I'm going to click OK, and we're ready to dial. Before I dial, let me just tap the line so you can actually hear what the modem is doing. Okay, so I've used a verify trunk to put a tap on this line so you can hear the audio as the modem is going out, because this modem doesn't have a speaker. But this way we can hear how the call is negotiating, and it won't pick anything up because this is a silent audio monitor, so it's not two-way, it's just a one-way monitor. So we dial. And we're in. We are connected to the system. Now it's going to make you put in this dummy login at first. That's not really for security, but I'm not going to go into that. So you just put these in, and then you get to the main screen that we saw before with all of the options. And yeah, I'm hearing some packet loss sign here. It's this is the problem with VoIP connections, is that they don't work too great all the time. Yeah, and I think it just hung up on me because I'm not hearing anything anymore. So on a better day, it's going to work better, obviously. Of course, it's not going to work great when I'm doing a demo. But let's try that again. And this time, I want to demonstrate it at 300 baud, just so you can maybe see some of the problems that happen when you do that. So let's try it again at 300 baud. And I have my system set to use dial pulse instead of touch tone, just because it tends to work better when dialing multiple digits at least. And we've got that nice 30 characters per second effect because we're using 300 baud. And it'll work okay at first. But the problem is that sooner or later the synchronization gets off. And when that happens, it's pretty obvious, because the connection basically goes to hell in a handbasket and you just get a bunch of garbled text. So far we're actually doing pretty well. Okay, so there you can see it happened. We got through a few lines and then synchronization get off and you just get a bunch of garbage text. And this happens on 300 baud, at least if you're on a VoIP connection. We tested this on a landline and it works perfectly there as you would expect. That's not very interesting. So, but if you're on VoIP, 300 baud can be problematic just for that reason. And I think the connection dropped again. It says disconnected. So it's a bit flaky today, but as you can see, 300 baud on VoIP is something to avoid typically. 2400 baud works much better. So that is HyperTerminal. And it's going to ask if you want to save the connection. You can. I never do. I just always set it up manually. So I'm going to close out of that. So the next program that we've got here is called Kitty. And what Kitty is a fork of Putty, which you probably have heard of. It's a popular Telnet and SSH client for Windows, and I think it might even be available on other platforms as well. Kitty is a fork of Putty, and it's only available for Windows. And it's got more features. It's like Putty on steroids, basically. It's got things like auto login, which is what allows this to directly open up to, well, I don't have an internet connection, so it's not going to open up. But if I did, you would see it just open up right to the main screen, and it does that because it has auto login, which Putty doesn't have. So that's just what I use for terminal connections that go over the internet. I haven't used Putty in a very long time now. But Kitty can also do, if we open it up, it can do serial connections. And you just have to specify your COM port and the baud speed, or the speed for the COM port. So unlike HyperTerminal, this does not just let you directly dial a modem. Notice that modem is not an option here. You do it through a serial port, and you're going to have to use Haze commands, the Haze command set basically, to control your modem. Fortunately, it's not very difficult. And I've already created a short call called direct dial. This will connect over the internet using SSH. And this will just open a serial connection. If we load it, you'll see it's populated that. And if you go to the serial connection settings, it's pretty straightforward. It's connecting on to COM3 at 2400 baud. Obviously, it's using 8N1, which is pretty standard. So if we go ahead and we open this up, that's going to open up. And I think I have it set to automatically do something. And I'm actually not sure what it did. I think I have it set to automatically dial something. So let's hang up. And to turn on echo, you type ATE1. And then you can see what you're typing when you're typing commands, which can be useful. So that's ATE1. To hang up, you do ATH. And it's already hung up, so that didn't do anything. And the other command is ATD, which is dial out. You can dial out using tones or using dial pulse. So, again, the number is 4. You're going to put your number here that you want to dial. It's probably not 4 in your case, but if I want to dial out using dial pulse, dial the number 4, I can go ahead. And now it's going to... So that's weird. I'm not sure what it did there. Can do ATH. Hang up. Huh. And it correctly recognized that whatever he dialed was busy. Let me try that again. I don't think it's likely that all the modems are busy. But I guess it could be. Okay, well, you know what they say about demos. When I try to dial in, all the modems in the bank are busy. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and try that again. Okay, now it's working. Again, this is set up for 1200 baud. And if you use Kitty, it's going to show you some helpful connection information, such as the codecs that's being used and other helpful info. So that's that can be nice if you're trying to troubleshoot something. We're going to log in as before. Probably got that incorrect or something. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so there we are. We're in. So, try logging into the PhreakNet BBS. Nope, that's not an option. Let me see how far I can get before I get a no carrier this time. Yeah, it's not sounding too great right now, but yep, okay, so didn't get very far, but that is VoIP for you. If you're on a landline, obviously this will work much better. We can try that again. We hang up the line, make sure that's hung up, and try to get in again. I might as well demonstrate using 300 baud. And 300 baud, nope, that's not it. If we load the direct dial connection and we change the speed to 300, that'll be 300 baud. It's done something weird now. Let me just hang this up. Okay. Let's try that again. Now it's going to negotiate to 300 baud. Okay, so we didn't get very far that time either. But you can see at least the connection information that it's using for 300 baud. So in this case, it's using V21. I don't quite remember what it was using last time, but I don't think it was V21. So it's going to settle on a different protocol and codec for different speeds. So that's just a basic idea of how Kitty works. With Kitty, you don't need to change the backspace behavior. It'll work as expected. So that's that. Now the last program is something called SyncTERM. And if we open that up, so this looks more like a traditional modem or terminal client that people might have used back in the 80s or 90s. But it's actually it's actively developed. I think this is the latest build from this year, or maybe last year. And I've already set some connections up. What you can do if you want to insert an item, press the insert key, and you can give it a name, and you can choose what type of connection it's going to be. Now you'll notice that there is a modem option, but for whatever reason it doesn't work. I've tried it and it just doesn't work. And I've listened in using this, and it basically doesn't even try to connect really. So that's no good. But it does have a serial option, so you can use that, and it's basically what the modem option is doing under the hood anyway. So you can choose a direct serial connection. I already got mine set up, so I'm gonna get out of here. This one connects to 300 baud. This one connects to 2400 bits per second. And let's see, if we edit this, you can see you're going to need to come here and specify. I've just chosen to name it COM3 because I'm using COM3. But you're going to need to come here and specify the device name, which is the COM port that it's on Windows. It's COM and then the COM port number. If you're on a different operating system, which I should have mentioned, this is available for Mac OS and Linux, I think, so it's cross-platform. But you're going to need to put the hardware name of your serial port in here. So that's device name. Connection type is serial, obviously. And then the only other thing is COM rate is the speed. And I've chosen 2400 bits per second again, just because I'm on VoIP here. So any higher, and that's not going to go too well for me. And today, you're just going to have to take my word for it that at least 2400 baud tends to work better. But there's just more packet loss today than usual, which will do it if you're using a modem. You basically need perfect conditions for a modem to work over VoIP. And if you don't have them, sucks to be you. So let's go ahead and dial out on COM3 using this connection. You just press enter. And of course, it didn't dial out, it just dumped me into the serial port for it. So you're going to type ATDT, and then the number, or ATDP if you want to use dial pulse. In this case, it's just a single digit, so it doesn't matter to me. And it's connecting. And we're connected. Okay, so V22B, that's what it's using. Okay, so that didn't go too well. Lots of no carriers today. And this is basically what I was encountering when I was trying to use higher baud speeds. So let's hang this up if we haven't already. And I guess go ahead and try it again and see if that works better next time. Okay, that didn't sound good. Oh, okay, so we're in. And that's not going to work. Let's try option 1. Let's try to log in. That doesn't sound good. Okay, but so far it's holding up. Now if I wanted to be weird, I go to the networking utilities. Nope, it's not going to let me. No carrier. Okay. Well, what I was going to try to do was, through the networking utilities, I can actually open up a web browser, like Links, and I could actually open up a web page that way. So even though I'm not connected to the internet, through my modem connection, I could get access to the internet basically using a door. So I'll try that again and see if it works better. Okay, so we're in again, and I've turned off the audio monitor just in case it was creating issues with that. But here we can try to go to google.com just for kicks and giggles here, and it's going to load the homepage of Google. Obviously this is a text-based browser, so there's no graphics, but we can tab our way around the page using the keyboard. Can't use the mouse, obviously. Okay, and here we are. So I can just search for let's see if this works. Just search for Bell System, and okay, press return. Okay, it's going. You need to accept cookies. Yes, go ahead. Okay, and it's loading the search results for Bell System. So you can go through those. And we could open up the Wikipedia page for it. And here it is. So as you can see, it doesn't look very pretty, but we're browsing Wikipedia using a modem connection with no local internet connection connected. Well, I shouldn't say that. With no network connection in this computer active. This is solely all going over a modem at 2400 baud. And 2400 baud obviously takes a while to load a lot of text, but it's actually working pretty well in this case. So that was just a demonstration. I'm not suggesting this is the most practical thing to do, but it works. So let's get out of here. I'm going to quit. And if we go back to the main menu of the PhreakNet BBS and go to Messages, and this opens up a private message system on this board, and I don't have any unread messages right now, but I can compose a message, and you can put in a username or a user ID number here. I'll just do the latter since that tends to be a little bit quicker. And basically this is like early email. You could think of it that way. It's not email, but it's like email. So I can say this is a test, and backspace doesn't work, but if you hit the delete key, it will do what you expect. So I just use delete instead of backspace. Yeah, I'm just that's good enough for this purpose. You can request a return receipt. Generally I suggest not doing that, or you'll just get a bunch of messages every time people read your messages. So I'm gonna go ahead and do no. Well, if you want a return receipt, I mean, certainly do that, but in this case I don't need a return receipt for a test, but it could be helpful if you want to know when somebody reads your message. And then press enter to send your message, and your message was successfully sent. So I want to go ahead and see recent messages. Actually no, I want to do sent messages. And if I do sent messages, then let's see, they're all scrolling through here. Of course at 2400 baud, it's going to take a little while. And there is a last message that I sent, test, and it was message 185. So if I enter 185, then I can load that message that I sent. And here it is. This is a test, and it's electronic mail, message number 185 on this board, and you can see when it was sent. That's UTC, not local time. It's not midnight here. but all the times on the board, I guess, are UTC. So I can get out of here. I have to say, I think that was causing issues when I was monitoring the line. That was causing quality issues, but I think now that I'm not doing that, it's a more stable connection. I've been on here for probably 5 or 10 minutes now, and it's been working just fine. So that was, what I could do is send a message to myself. Not that this is a very practical thing to do, but there's nothing stopping me from doing it. And I guess just for a demonstration. Now the backspace worked. I can go ahead and do yes. And I'll send my message. Okay, well, it was fun while it lasted. But anyways, that is a demonstration of how to dial into the public access Unix system, the bulletin board system, using a modem. Again, you can pick whatever program works for you, right? You know, you might like the look and feel of something like this, a more traditional terminal modem client, or you could use HyperTerminal, or you could use Kitty, or Putty, or anything else. You know, you just need to interact with your serial port and use that to control your modem. And otherwise, it doesn't really matter. They all basically do the same thing. But these are 3 different ways, 3 different programs at least, and 4 different ways of accessing the system. And basically, using this, you can access the internet without having an internet connection locally. If you just had a landline, you could dial into this and then get out to the internet using the doors on this board.